Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I just want to do a tier list on what I think is the most fun classes that I'm going to be playing in 11.1. This has been asked on my videos a lot, my stream a lot, and I'm just going to rank the specs that are going to be my favorites. I'm only including DPS because that is pretty much what I'm interested in. I'm not a healer person. I don't really play tanks a whole lot, so do keep that in mind. I'm gonna go based off playstyles. There's too much patch notes to remember every single thing, so I'm just going off playstyle and why I enjoy it. Maybe I'll sell some people on wanting to play that spec or not. Even if I don't put them in my favorites, I did put them in 3 favorites. My favorites are what I'm definitely playing more than the others. Fun is in not playing as much. I mean, not playing as much. Fun is I'm still going to be playing it, just not as much as my favorites. And then the third row, not interested. So that is what I'm going to be ranking it on. And let's start off with the first one. First one is going to be Affliction. It's still going to be my favorites. I played this a lot in the first season, and I am looking forward to playing it playing it once again. Has some of my favorite things. I like to rot teams down a lot. So Affliction is kind of more so my speed, so spreading the dots. It's got dots that can if somebody dispels it, like for example a healer, they'll get backlashed. It's going to be a lot of fun doing back to them. They also have Shadow Rift, which is not really part of the spec. It's a PvP talent. And Shadow Rift is really one of my favorite abilities in the game. It can definitely turn the tide of a battleground, which is what I usually like to do. I can't tell you how many times a warlock has actually won a game from Shadow Rift, whether it be myself or another warlock, and it is just a lot of fun. So they also have a lot of CC between Fear, Mortal Coil, and all that stuff. They also have Shadow's Fury Stun, and overall, that's just pretty much the main reason why I would recommend playing Affliction Lock. If you're a rot heavy class person like me, who likes rotting things down, then I would recommend Affliction Lock. And plus, maybe you'll be like me and just love Shadow Rift, although it's not really Affliction Warlock specific. But yeah, I would highly recommend playing Affliction Lock if you like rotting things down. It is a lot of fun. Up next is Arms Warrior. Arms Warrior is not really something I'm too terribly interested in. I stand by my statement where Arms Warrior is better with a healer partner. It's a lot better this expansion solo wise because they do have some better defenses, but I still think they're better with a good, decent teammate. So that's part of the reason why I kind of put them in the not interested category. If you do have partners and friends that you run with a lot, I would recommend giving Arms Warrior specifically, a shot. But as they do hit hard, or at least in my experience in battlegrounds, and I've seen some other Arms Warriors hit pretty hard in like Blitz and all that stuff before as well. But most of the Arms Warriors that I do see usually run with healers, and they do absolutely crazy, crazy stuff. So that's the reason why I'm not putting Arms Warrior in the not interested category. However, I have seen some solo Arms Warriors do pretty well. And if you are interested in that kind of thing, you can give Arms Warrior a try. But I feel like it's definitely better in the group with friends category, and that's the reason why I am not as interested in it. Up next is Assassin Rogue. I know I'm going to get some comments on this, but I have played a lot of Assassin Rogue in the Season 1, and I'm planning to play it in Season 2. For the most part, from what I saw, it was pretty much almost exactly the same as it is now. It is getting obviously some damage buffs, and they are losing the honor talent, PvP talent. I always call it honor talent for whatever reason. But they are losing the PvP talents that gives them Cloak of Shadows removing bleed, so we might struggle a lot more against bleed classes like Feral and another Assassin Rogue, for example. So that's going to kind of suck. So our survivability is going to go down a little bit. But other than that, I'm just going to play Rogue for a few reasons. One, Rogues always it tilts me, so if you're new to the channel, Rogues anger me a lot in PvP, so I play mine just to vent out frustrations, which is why I'm putting it in my favorites category, because I already know I'm going to play it, because obviously they make me mad, and I'm just going to play it a lot. So that's why I'm putting it in that category, pretty much for that reason. Also, it kind of fits my theme a little bit I do like playing solo a lot and going off and doing my own thing. So Rogue's the ultimate solo class. That's just the way they are. They're designed to be better for solo people like me. So if you're off doing your own thing, wanting to go off and do your own thing, have some of the best escapes ever, then Rogue will 100% be for you. It is, however, the squishiest out of the 3 Rogue specs. However, saying that, it is my favorite. I really enjoy playing Assassin Rogue. Their only weakness is the fact that some specs can remove bleeds, like Evoker. And there was like another one, but I forgot what. Also, dwarves can remove bleeds as well. But yeah, so those are the weaknesses of Assassin Rogue, so do keep that in mind. The fact that you can get your bleeds removed, so be aware of like timing your bursts and all that. However, saying that, Rogue is definitely good for solo, so if you're interested in that kind of thing, then play Assassin Rogue. Boomkin has been my main since nearly first starting this game. I created my Boomkin in Classic, but I didn't seriously main it, so I want to say Burning Crusade, maybe even Wrath, but I still played it every expansion all the way through, and it has been my main ever since. I cannot say anything bad about Boomkin. Actually, I guess I could say one bad thing is that their survivability did take a hit this expansion. However, saying that, Boomkin has always been the best, or one of the best, battleground specs in the game, and that is what I usually do. So for battleground blitz, battleground, regular battlegrounds, epic battlegrounds, all that stuff, I cannot stress enough, they are one of the best, and I highly recommend. It is so much fun. I have like other than the survivability issues, I don't really have much complaints about Boomkin. Cyclone's a lot of fun, although I think it did get nerfed this patch, so do keep that in mind. It's down to like 5 seconds now. But having said that, Cyclone is one of the best CCs in the game in my opinion still. Plus they have Root Beam, all that fun stuff. You can Typhoon people off cliffs. Full Moon, if you run it, is one of the best burst spells in the game. Can't tell you how many times I've hit and nuked something with like 3+ million full moons. It's tons of fun. Do keep in mind though, it's much of a pain to get that off, but yeah, you're also immune to like polymorphs as a druid. Like I said, there's so many nice things I could say about druid, although this is Boomkin specific, but most of that was Boomkin in general. But yeah, if there's one range I could definitely recommend giving a try in Battlegrounds, it would be a Balanced Druid. A lot of fun. Highly recommend. Up next is Beast Mastery Hunter. It is currently one of the best specs for PvP at the moment over Marksman. However, saying that, I have not really been interested in Beast Mastery that much. I have tried doing videos on it, and it just never really is fun to me. However, if you're interested in a pet spec that can really annoy people and is usually hated by the community, and is strong in 1v1s compared to Marksman usually, then Beast Mastery will be for you. You could just send your pets. Like another good example lately is there's an eyeglass in PvP, and you can use this to find stealthers, and you can't move during it, but you can send your pet to attack. For example, if the rogue's all the way on the other side of the frickin' map and you have the spyglass, you can use it even during camo, send your pet and get him out of stealth. It's been used on me, I've used it to others, and it's quite amusing to do. Although, to be fair, any hunter spec can do it because you can just summon your pet as any hunter spec. But yeah, so yeah, Beast Mastery is pretty good in 1v1s if you want to just use your pets all the time and have that kind of thing. The only thing bad about Beast Mastery in Battlegrounds, in my opinion, is the fact that the AI can be kind of dumb sometimes. But other than that, if you're interested in something that's really strong in 1v1s overall, then you can play Beastmaster. I just haven't really enjoyed the rotation as Beastmaster that much. I think the barb shot just never really was my kind of thing. I like the old version of Beastmaster like a long time ago. Oh, that was more so my kind of thing. Demonology, never could get into it either. My favorite time of Demonology was in Wrath, to be honest. I've always tried it since then. I think I liked it in Pandaria as well, if I remember right, but I remember playing it, I think, a little bit, but I don't 100% remember. Regardless, we're not in Mistwind area. But I tried to do it in the War Within the other day. Just wasn't really speaking to me. And it's going to be the same thing in the next patch. If you're interested in a pet spec that, in my opinion, still does decent 1v1 similar to Beast Mastery, then Demonology will be kind of more so your thing. You can also, say for example, if a rogue stuns you, your Felguard can defend you and even stun you even while CC'd. So this is actually one of the specs in the game that can kind of stop you from getting jumped on when you're CC'd. So if that kind of sounds like your thing, then Demonology will be for you. Destro, planning on playing this. One of the most satisfying specs in the game. I absolutely love Destro. If you want to hit constant high, huge damage with one of your with your main ability Chaos Bolts, then Destro will be for you. This is just a spec that relies on pretty much heavy burst damage. You can also put Havoc on somebody and just absolutely nuke 2 targets at once. Usually, most of the time, from what I see in Battlegrounds and Battleground Blitz, it takes like you just put Havoc on somebody and you can just nuke a target pretty much instantly with like 3 to 4 Chaos Bolts, maybe even sometimes even 2 to 3. So it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend giving Destro a try. Also similar to Affliction, you can just Shadow Rift somebody. I think Demo has it as well, but I don't play it as much. I completely forgot. But yeah, Shadow Rift, tons of fun. So difference between Affliction and Destro. Destro, you can just absolutely nuke a target, and then Affliction, you just rot them down. So tons of fun. Highly recommend playing Destro if you haven't tried it. Evoker, tons of fun. One of my favorite, I think, probably after Boomkin, I would say is my second favorite. Has one of the highest mobilities in the game. Has better self-healing than I feel like any other DPS specs, maybe like Rets and Feral. Actually, I would say Evoker has better heals than Ret, to be honest. But yeah, it's got tons of mobility. It has one of the best hero talents in the game. You can actually control your deep breath. I cannot sell this enough. I could probably talk about this forever, but you can control your deep breath this expansion, and that is huge. Also, deep breath currently has, in my opinion, one of the best CCs, because you can just AoE stun tons of people at once. For example, on like Eye of the Storm is a good example where everybody's just stacked up. And I cannot tell you how many times that we've wiped a raid or they've wiped my raid just from one single evoker that just AoE stuns and everybody AoEs at once and everything just dies. Like, it's crazy. This class can just do a lot. They also can use a PvP talent that can bring an enemy close to a ledge and knock them off that way. And so you can completely knock a healer out of the team by doing that. Also, Rescue helps out your teammates if they're running the flag. Can't tell you how many times I've saved somebody or some other evoker has done it. So yeah, I cannot sell this class out enough. It is definitely worth trying if you have not tried it out. Elemental, I am not really too terribly interested in. I mean, I'll put it on this row, but I'm not really sold on it. Because I'll probably play it every once in a while. It is, out of all the shaman specs, it's the one I would play. And I have played, but I'm not really too sold on Elemental. However, saying that, Elemental is definitely not too terribly bad. You can knock people off cliffs. It's got decent self-healing. The defenses are not too terribly bad. Lightning Lasso is pretty nice for a stun. Hex is nice for some ninja base steals in Battleground Blitz. I've done that a few times. That's pretty much all there is to it for Ellie for me. Yeah. Let's move on to enhancements. I'm not interested in enhancement. I've said this a lot. I actually just did a recent video on it. It was okay. It was kind of fun, but it's just not something for me. I feel like you get kind of kited a lot. That's just personally me. However, saying that, the self-healing is absolutely insane. I actually forgot. Maybe it's because I don't play it, but I forgot to mention this during my self-heals as evoker. That enhancement self-healing is actually insane. I feel like that's kind of like their main defensive, though, is just having that really good self-healing. I feel like they're pretty decent for 1v1s. Also, they have some of the highest burst in the game, at least from what I played. I wasn't even not spec, but I wasn't even like the right stats or anything, and Ascendants can just absolutely nuke somebody. And I've also been personally nuked by an Enhancement shaman, like it's nothing. So I feel like they have some of the highest bursts in the game. So if that's kind of your thing where you have really decent self-healing and some of the highest bursts in the game, then you'll probably enjoy Enhancement Shaman. Up next is Feral. I'm planning on playing Feral in the next season. It's a lot of fun. I'm a huge druid fan, and the self-healing from Feral is really nice. Also, they're similar to Assassin Rogue, which is what I'm going to be playing next season, where I enjoy the bleed playstyle over the bite playstyle, and can't wait to play more of that. I'm going to be immune to polymorph from mages, which is going to be really nice. And they're really good at 1v1s, and I like going off and doing my own thing because I am more of a solo type player, and if that sounds like more of your kind of thing, then a Feral Druid will be for you. So I'm super excited to play Feral Druid in the next season, pretty much for those reasons. Good self-healing. They do have better survivability this expansion. Immune to polymorph. Better for solo type players like me. And yeah, those are the main reasons why I'm putting it in my favorites. Fire Mage, not really interested in it. I know they're really, really, really good at the moment. And especially in 11.1 from what I'm being told. But the reason why I'm not interested in Fire Mage as much is, well, they are nice for the insta-casts, which is pretty much what they are. So if you're interested in pretty much almost all insta-casts, and just absolutely melting a target, because that's what Fire is. Fire is pretty much all about just bursting your targets. I don't think their consistent damage is as amazing, at least from the ones I've seen, but if they pop their burst, they will absolutely melt you. So if you're interested in a full-on burst spec with a lot of instacasts, then Fire would be for you. However, saying that, I feel like they're not as good at kiting, or at least in my experience, and also as well as facing them. I know some people might disagree with me on that, but that's just been my experience, so that's why I'm not as interested in them. So I'm putting Fire in the not interested category just for that reason. Frost Mage, had a lot of fun with it this season. Planning on playing it next season as well. It's probably one of the most tilting things to face when I play anything else. You can just spam slows for days on people, especially with like Frozen Orb and a group of people in middle, popping Blizzard as well. And then they just get spam rooted constantly, spam slowed constantly. And that's the reason why I just love playing Frost, is just to help out the team out, just slowing down, nobody can get away, and that kind of thing. I know the other specs have this as well, but Ice Wall is pretty freaking amazing and huge for Battlegrounds. I cannot tell you how many times I won a Battleground Blitz game because I used Ice Wall and managed to ninja the base on top of like so many people. It was insane. Like not really on top of anybody, but there were so many people nearby and they didn't even interrupt me because of Ice Wall. So, well, more like they couldn't, but. And Battleground Blitz has like a very short cap time, so you have just, it's, moral of the story, Ice Wall is huge, and yes, it is for all the other specs as well, but I just had to add that in. So between the slows in Ice Walls and, you know, all that stuff, I highly recommend giving Frost Mage a try if you haven't. Fury Warrior, I've never really been as huge of a Warrior fan, but I'm putting this in the second row because I'm probably going to play it in Season 2. I do like this more for solo than I did with Arms. I've tried out both, and I feel like I do a lot better with Fury solo than I do with Arms. Fury does Arms does have some self-healing like Fury does, but Fury has, I feel like, the better self-healing. And I'm putting this in the second row because I'm just going to be playing it, but it's not my absolute favorite like it is with the first row. So it does have some of the highest burst in the game if you run a Death Wish. So if you're looking for something like that has the best burst in the game, a 5-stack Death Wish Fury Warrior can single-handedly just absolutely annihilate raids. I've seen it happen. I've done it. And if you're interested in that type of thing, then Fury Warrior will be for you. Up next is Havoc Demon Hunter. Havoc Demon Hunter is going in the second row. I do like Havoc Demon Hunter a lot, and I wish I could put it in my favorites. But the one weakness it has, this expansion, is why I'm putting it in the second row and not my favorites. If you're interested in a class that can do some really nice tricks, like jumping onto places that no other class can, then Demon Hunter will be for you. It's got some really good mobility, which is why I like it, because mobility is a lot of fun to me. And also, Glimpse can, which is the PvP talent, can completely negate a CC if you time it perfectly. So if you're skilled with that and know when to predict when people are going to CC, then that PvP talent is huge. The only thing what I hate about having Demon Hunter this expansion is I feel like it's turned into another warrior, where you rely a lot more on healers this expansion. Like, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've kind of gotten annoyed with having to just, I feel like I have to constantly run more than actually get into team fights sometimes, because you just get absolutely shredded, because your survivability is kind of bad this expansion. It's kind of similar to Boomkin. I feel like the survivability as Demon Hunter has gone drastically down this expansion. So that's just my personal opinion. Some people might disagree with me, but I feel like if you can get past the needing healers to actually, I feel like, have fun, then Demon Hunter is a lot of fun. That's my only complaint about Demon Hunter right now, is the fact that I feel like you need a healer to kind of have fun, which is not really good for solo people like me. So that's the reason why I'm putting in the second row. If it wasn't for that, it would go in my favorites for sure. Up next is Marksman Hunter. I enjoy Marksman Hunter a lot, and it's also getting a rework again this next patch. So I am planning on playing it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Double tap is going to be back, and not to mention you'll be able to double tap twice if you use volley. Then you can double tap rapid fire that way, and then you can true shot and double tap rapid fire that way. So I can imagine that Marksman Hunter is going to be 100-0ing people a lot this patch. So they're going to probably take over Battlegrounds once again. However, I'm just saying that. I don't know if it's going to be true, because you can't test that out in PTR. Although you could do duels, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it's going to be affecting Battlegrounds. But regardless, even if it doesn't, I still enjoy Marksman. It's always been really good in Battlegrounds, similar to the other specs I've listed on here so far, except for like Feral. But usually, like Boomkin, Affliction, Destro are usually notorious for being good in Battleground Blitz. But so that's the reason why I'm putting this in my favorites category. Plus, ranged is always fun to play in Battlegrounds. Up next is Outlaw. Not something I really have any interest in. It's just never really been my kind of thing. I'm not really interested in the whole RNG. And for the most part, Outlaw is usually better for like speed running and Battleground Blitz and Battlegrounds. So that's the reason why I'm just putting this in not interested category. It's just more kind of like for RNG. And that's the reason why I'm putting this in a not as interested category. Up next is Rhett, putting this in the second row. I'm planning on playing Rhett in the next patch. It is the ultimate support spec, so if you're interested in supporting people, then Rhett will probably be for you. It is also one of the strongest 1v1 specs in the game, in my opinion. The only specs you'll probably really struggle with are mages, because they're very slippery, and Rhett is not really a super mobile class. And they do struggle with, I feel like, warlocks maybe a little bit. And you might struggle against maybe a decent hunter, but you should be probably not as hard as the mages and maybe warlocks, in my opinion. And but other than that, Red is the ultimate support spec. It is really strong in 1v1s. It is really strong for solo players. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then Red will probably be for you. I know, ironically, I'm kind of twisting my words here, as I said that it's the ultimate sport as well as really strong for solo players, but regardless, definitely try Red out. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy bursting people also every 45 seconds as Red. It's just tons of fun. Up next is Shadow Priest. I've been kind of back and forth. I kind of enjoyed playing it recently, so I guess I'll put it in the second row. I know, ironically, I said I enjoy rock classes, but Shadow Priest has, maybe it's just because like the lack of mobility for me. I know warlock doesn't have a lot of mobility as well, but they do have like gateway and ports and all that. So, and they have burning rush as well. Although priest does have angelic feather, but regardless, Shadow Priest is definitely a strong spec to play if you're interested in playing Shadow Priest. You can mind control people off cliff who doesn't love doing that. Also, on like Ashran, which I know a lot of people don't like to do, you can fly up in the air, mind control somebody in the air, and make their own team kill them. It's so much fun. I love doing that. It's one of my greatest fun things to do whenever I get that map. Also, life swap. I cannot tell you how many times I've saved a flag carrier with it. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, saving teammates that way, life swap can definitely help out, as well as save yourself. What's some other ones? Shadow Priest has probably the strongest utility in the game. Like I said, with Leap of Faith, life swap, mind control. They have some really strong CC with fear and stun, silence. And they're probably the ultimate healer killer in the game. So if you really hate healers and want to make their life miserable, then play a Shadow Priest for sure. I think other than Rogue, there's probably no other class in the game that can make a healer's life miserable like those two specs can, or classes I should say. Between Siphene, which reduces their healing, silence, fear, stun, they can make a healer's life miserable. So if all that sounds good to you, Shadow Priest will be for you. Sub-Rogue, I have no really interest in. It's usually the known PvP rogue spec, so if there's any rogue spec that's usually known for PvP, it would be Sub-Rogue. What's different about them compared to some of the other rogue specs? A Sub-Rogue pretty much can just constantly keep your a target CC'd, is probably the CC bot, and I cannot tell you how many times a Sub-Rogue can just nuke you down in a stun. They're pretty much the burst spec. Outside of the burst, they do no damage, like at all. So if that sounds good, where you just want to constantly be a CC bot and nuke your target in a stun every time Shadow dances up, then Sub-Rogue will be for you. Outside of that, they pretty much have the same defense as Double Vanish, all that stuff. So Sub-Rogue is the spec where you just constantly CC every target in the game with your Shadow Dance, and just whatever you want to nuke, then you nuke them down in a stun with your Shadow Dance burst. Also, they are losing Shadowy Duel next patch, so do keep that in mind. So they are losing one of their main things. But yeah, I just don't have much interest in Sub-Rogue. Up next is Survival Hunter. I would put this in the second category. I had a lot of fun with Survival Hunter in, I want to say Dragonflight, but in the War Within, it's not really been one of my favorites. I did try it again recently, but the rotation just doesn't really get to me as much, which is why it is not in my favorites. However, saying that, I do enjoy the playstyle where you can just go in and out and be a ranged and a melee. If there's any spec in the if you want to play both melee and ranged, in one spec, then Survival is for you. It is the only spec in the game that can pretty much do both, except for I guess Ret Paladin. I guess Ret Paladin could technically do that as well, but Survival Hunter is basically a melee and ranged in one spec, and I enjoy the playstyle a lot as Survival. But the rotation, I feel like this expansion has been kind of just not as enjoyable to me. But I still do like playing it every once in a while, which is why I'm putting it in the second row. Up next is Unholy. I'm putting this in the second row. It's not my favorite DK spec. I don't like it as much, but I do enjoy playing it every once in a while, which is why I'm going in the second row. Basically Unholy is kind of I like to call Unholy DK the pet spec. So if you're kind of interested in playing, people call it the Necromancer spec because it summons like all these undead and pets, but basically I feel like Unholy is more tanky than Frost. So if you're interested in the more tanky spec, I would probably play Unholy, and if you're more interested in like the rotting spec, I would play Unholy, because Unholy is kind of like more rotting things down versus Frost, where you're just going full on attack mode burst. So if that sounds good to you, where you like summoning an army of pets, rotting targets down, decent survivability compared to Frost, then I would play Unholy DK. For me, Frost DK is my favorite DK spec. I enjoy it the most. Having said that, Frost DK is known to be targeted by Blizzard a lot. They never let Frost have their time in the sun. And Frost is generally not the go-to for PvP spec, but I do enjoy it a lot. Having said that, Frost DK is losing the Remorseless Winter Stun this next patch, and I'm not too happy about it. They're already kind of shredded by melee. They do good against casters because DKs are just good against casters. But losing the stun is probably going to hurt Frost DK a lot. Some people are saying it won't be as bad as they think, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But that's just my personal opinion. So I definitely recommend playing Frost if you want to just go ham and grip everybody in and AoE stun them with Cindergrosa stun and just Frost. I always enjoy having a Death Knight on my team just because they can just grip everybody and then everybody can AoE cleave them at once, and that's why I really enjoy having a Death Knight in Battlegrounds. Also, I cannot stress enough, I love having a Death Knight because you can just death grip the kill target. The amount of people that will just be a sheep, and if you grip somebody in and attack them, is actually just huge. So you can just grip a healer and people will target them and you'll be able to get a healer kill that way. So it's definitely very nice to have a Death Knight because of that. So if that sounds good to you, then give Death Knights a try. Unholy is the route spec. Frost DK is the spec that is similar to Warrior, where you just go absolutely ham and you can grip your targets in, AoE cleave them. It is so much fun. I love Frost DK. Windwalker Monk, one of my favorite things to play. It has gotten a survivability buff this expansion. I feel like they don't die as easy this expansion. They have some of the highest mobility in the game. They have Transcendence to port out when you need to. Fist of Fury to parry all the melee. And Touch of Karma to just redirect damage, all that fun stuff. So if all that sounds good to you, then Windwalker will be for you. Windwalker is also one of the strongest 1v1 specs in the game as well, in my opinion. So if that sounds good for you for solo type play, then Windwalker will be for you. Arcane Mage, I don't really have any interest in. However, I'm to sell it out for Arcane Mage for you guys if you want to play it. Arcane Mage is probably one of the most annoying things to deal with for melee players. One of my Gladiator friends told me, which I believe him, he soloed 4 melees as an Arcane Mage because they could never reach him. So Arcane Mage is pretty much the ultimate kiting spec. It's pretty much similar to Frost Mage. You can just kite and frustrate melee players to absolute oblivion. So if that sounds interested to you, and they have some really insane bursts as well, then play Arcane Mage. Augmentation, I don't really have any interest in Augmentation. They apparently got nerfed to absolutely uselessness according to PvE players, so I don't know how they're going to do in PvP. I have not seen one. I don't even know when the last time I've seen an Augmentation evoker. It's like they don't even exist anymore. But yeah, it's just pretty much turned into a support spec in my opinion. They used to hit pretty hard. They probably still do. Who am I kidding? If they did, they'd probably see more. But yeah, I don't know what to say about Augmentation. They're pretty much a support spec, so that's pretty much all there is to it. Otherwise, I would probably play Devastation over Augmentation. I just feel like they're better at the moment. Personal opinion. Anyways, that's it for the video. Let me know what you guys think of my choices, whether you agree or disagree with my choices and my decisions, and maybe if I sold you guys on another spec. Like, for example, did I sell you guys on playing a sub-rogue or a enhancement? Did I sell you guys on playing a Rets? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.